Chapter 2402, Let Me Tell You a Secret. Published by Divine Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Godbrandy. Translation checker, Pew Pew Lasergun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. Even Yang Kai's group, who was far from the battlefield, could sense the terrifying energy fluctuations. All of them wore expressions of shock, while Fan Sin and the other disciples of Iceheart Pavilion were deeply worried about their honored master. They only knew that she seemed to fear Chi-Ri, oblivious to the fact that she had recovered to her peak. Now that the two had started fighting, they didn't know who would come out on top. "Someone's coming," Lu Xianyun exclaimed while pointing in a certain direction. Yang Kai narrowed his eyes, frowning. How did she fail to stop him? In her current state, Bing Yun should have been able to kill Pan Guang right under Chi-Ri's nose. After all, he was only a First-Order Emperor Realm cultivator and was heavily injured on top of that. He couldn't possibly survive a single attack from Bing Yun. Yet, Pan Guang was alive and kicking, heading in their direction as they spoke. Yang Kai didn't know what had happened on Bing Yun's side, but the reality was that Pan Guang had managed to slip by. It was no longer possible for their group to leave in peace. If they wanted to do so, they had to deal with Pan Guang first. "It's that Emperor Realm Master." Seeing Pan Guang, Ling Yin-chin's beautiful face turned pale. She didn't know who Pan Guang was, but as he was following Chi-Ri, he had to be an enemy. The Emperor Realm and Dao Source Realm were worlds apart, and an Emperor Realm Master could easily destroy their ship. After seeing Pan Guang, everyone turned to look at Yang Kai, wondering what countermeasures he had prepared. At a glance, Ling Yin-chin and her crew were surprised as Yang Kai didn't seem anxious at all, simply standing there calmly, a mocking smile on his face. It was as if he wasn't facing an emperor, but a piece of trash who was seeking his own death. "You guys should leave first, I'll catch up with you in a bit," Yang Kai urged Ling Yin-chin and the others before turning around and flying off. Senior brother, Lu Xianyun became anxious. She wanted to accompany Yang Kai, but was also afraid that she'd become a burden due to her low cultivation. She was in a dilemma. "Senior brother Yang, I'll help you," Ling Yin-chin said as she leapt forward. She was a third-order Dao Source Realm cultivator, and if she were to put her life on the line, she could exchange a few blows with a First-Order Emperor Realm Master. It was unknown what the outcome would be, but given the current situation, she was the only one here who could help Yang Kai. "There is no need for you to intervene. I'll deal with him by myself. A trivial First-Order Emperor Realm cultivator isn't enough to give me trouble." Yang Kai turned around, smiling at them. Ling Yin-chin and the others were dumbfounded. An Emperor Realm Master was just something trivial in Yang Kai's eyes. Where did all his confidence come from? "Don't worry, I'll catch up with you soon." Seeing that Ling Yin-chin and the others were no longer coming his way, Yang Kai grinned. Then, he left the sea ship, and flew off to intercept Pan Guang. Ling Yin-chin stood on the deck in a daze, but after a short moment of hesitation, she gritted her teeth and shouted, "Let's go." But senior brother, Lu Xianyun was so anxious that she was bordering on a panic attack. Ling Yin-chin only spoke in a grave tone. "However, if we remain here, we'll just distract him. Your senior brother is far stronger than an ordinary Dao Source Realm cultivator. Since he is this confident, I'm sure he'll be fine." Hearing her words, Lu Xianyun recalled something. When a third-order Emperor Realm Master chased after them outside of Marsh City, Yang Kai managed to run away while carrying her along. If even a third-order Emperor Realm Master couldn't trouble him, what hope did a first-order Emperor Realm cultivator like Pan Guang have? Considering all this, Lu Xianyun relaxed. She turned and looked in Yang Kai's direction, praying for his well-being before turning back and assisting Ling Yin-chin and the others to move the ship away from the battlefield. Above the sea surface, Pan Guang suddenly stopped, the distance between him and Yang Kai about a couple dozen meters. He angrily stared at Yang Kai, and seeing the carefree smile on his mortal enemy's face made him quite uncomfortable. Becoming even angrier as time passed, Pan Guang roared, "Little brat, you actually had the gall to stay here and wait for this king." Yang Kai grinned, "Since City Lord Pang is trying to seek death with all his heart, I thought I'd give him a hand." Hearing his words, Pan Guang laughed riotously, "Little brat, have you lost your mind? This king is an emperor, killing you will be as easy as taking a breath. What's so great about the Emperor Realm?" Yang Kai curled his lips. "It's not like Emperor Realm cultivators can't die. If their heads are separated from their bodies, they're as good as dead." Pan Guang was dumbfounded, sweeping his eyes over Yang Kai once more, re-examining him before nodding. "I have to admit that your courage is big, just like your tone." Enough with this nonsense. Yang Kai seemed impatient. This young master is in a hurry. Flicking his wrist, he summoned the myriad sword and raised it up to point at Pan Guang. You can either come here on your own or wait for this young master to come over and kill you. Choose whatever you prefer. Wah! Pan Guang roared. He had never seen such an arrogant Dao Source realm cultivator before. In the past, all the Dao Source cultivators he met were extremely respectful when dealing with him, none daring to even breathe without his permission. He was the one looking down on them. But today, the opposite happened. Pan Guang seethed with rage. If I don't peel your skin off today, I am not surnamed Pang. After shouting, he shot toward Yang Kai, his momentum soaring as shockwaves spreading all around. While in midair, he threw his fist toward Yang Kai. The fist's shadow instantly filled the sky, locking onto Yang Kai's figure. Zheng. A melodious sword cry echoed as a sword encased in light expanded out. Just like a dragon waking up from its slumber, bringing enormous power with it, causing Pan Guang's body to tremble. Hong hong hong. The loud sound of explosions echoed as the huge fist shadow that filled the sky crumbled and a slash of light from the sword rushed towards Pan Guang. Pan Guang gasped, his expression changing quickly. He moved his body sideways as the slash brushed past his flank, but the sword chi still caused his whole body to sting with pain. How can he be this powerful? Pan Guang couldn't believe what had just happened. He, an Emperor Realm Master, had taken the initiative to attack. However, not only did he fail to gain any advantage over his opponent, he was even injured. Was this really the strength of a Dao Source Realm cultivator? Pan Guang wished he could take his eyeballs out of his sockets and stick them to Yang Kai's body to see if he was actually an Emperor Realm Master hiding his cultivation to toy with him. While he was lost in thought, Yang Kai suddenly appeared in front of him, an evil smile on his face as he punched out. Strange principal strength lingered on this fist, which made Pan Guang feel great pressure. He didn't dare to be careless and threw a punch of his own, putting all of his strength behind it. Hong. When the two fists collided, Pan Guang's whole body trembled as he felt a huge surge of power from the incoming attack, causing his blood to boil and his footing to become unstable. Reeling back from the blow, Pan Guang was forced to withdraw 1,000 meters before managing to regain his footing. Yang Kai also flew backwards like a broken piece of cloth. His realm was ultimately lower than Pan Guang's, so it was commendable that their first clash ended in a draw. Qi. Both of them stimulated their qi to disperse their momentum. Their expressions differed quite a bit at this time, with Yang Kai was still in high spirits but remaining calm, while Pan Guang's cool was gone. He discovered that killing Yang Kai wouldn't be as easy as he'd imagined. Yang Kai did truly qualify to exchange blows with him. Things didn't go like this when they fought in his cave mansion the last time. Although Pan Guang felt that Yang Kai was different from ordinary Dao Source realm cultivators, he didn't seem this outrageous. But now, just a few days later, Yang Kai's strength seemed to have dramatically increased. Don't tell me this is the effect of the heavenly restoration lotus. This thought suddenly flashed in Pan Guang's mind. This made him even angrier as that heavenly restoration lotus should have been his. If he had gotten his hands on it, not only would he have recovered from his injuries, but he would have also advanced on his martial Dao. Unfortunately for him, this little brat had swallowed the lotus flower whole. Let me tell you a secret. Yang Kai's voice suddenly echoed beside Pan Guang's ears. Pan Guang was startled. Yang Kai was thousands of meters away just a moment ago, yet now he was standing right beside him. In that short instant, Pan Guang hadn't even noticed him move. Just how fast is this brat? As soon as he heard Yang Kai's voice, Pan Guang summoned his Emperor artifact, which took the shape of a copper gong. When he poured his Emperor Qi into it, the copper gong hummed and let out a strange noise that seemed capable of disrupting one's concentration. A pitch-black light shot from the copper gong, heading for Yang Kai's waist. The speed of this beam of light was so great that it seemed impossible to dodge. But even so, it did not catch Yang Kai off guard. Pan Guang felt a fluctuation of space principles at that moment and witnessed Yang Kai disappearing from where he was standing. In the next instant, Yang Kai's voice came from a different side. Yao Changjun is dead. When he heard the name, Yao Changjun, Pan Guang's complexion changed and he subconsciously thought that Yao Changjun was nearby and didn't even register the last part of the sentence at first. After coming to his senses, he then blurted out, "How did he die?" "Of course, I killed him." Yang Kai laughed madly. "Nonsense," Pan Guang bellowed. He thought that Yang Kai was deceiving him. He'd rather believe that the heavens and earth had turned upside down than believe Yang Kai had killed Yao Changjun. After all, the latter was a third-order Emperor realm master. Even Pan Guang had to bow his head before such a master. The mere thought of Yang Kai, who was only a third-order Dao Source realm brat, killing such a powerhouse was beyond preposterous. You don't believe me? In that case, why don't you take a look at this? Yang Kai retreated a dozen or so meters and spun his wrist, summoning the five-colored spear into his hand. Pan Guang opened his eyes wide as he gazed at the five-colored spear in shock. Then, he started shivering. He had never seen this five-color spear before, but he could feel its majestic aura. To have such an aura, it had to be an Emperor-grade high-rank artifact. Even his copper gong was inferior to it. Someone who possessed this kind of Emperor artifact was definitely a third-order Emperor realm master, but the most important thing was that he could feel Yao Chang Jun's aura on this five-colored spear.